Objects in JavaScript, just as in many other programming languages, can be compared to objects in real life. The concept of objects in JavaScript can be understood with real-life, tangible objects. In JavaScript, an object is a standalone entity, with properties and type. Compare it with a cup, for example. A cup is an object, with properties. A cup has a color, a design, weight, a material it is made of, etc. The same way, JavaScript objects can have properties, which define their characteristics. A JavaScript object has properties associated with it. A property of an object can be explained as a variable that is attached to the object. Object properties are basically the same as ordinary JavaScript variables, except for the attachment to objects. The properties of an object define the characteristics of the object. You access the properties of an object with a simple dot notation. Like all JavaScript variables, both the object name, which could be a normal variable, and property name are case-sensitive. You can define a property by assigning it a value. For example, let's create an object named myCar and give it properties named make, model, and year as follows. Properties of JavaScript objects can also be accessed or set using a bracket notation. For more details, see property accessors. Objects are sometimes called associative arrays, since each property is associated with a string value that can be used to access it. So, for example, you could access the properties of the myCar object as follows. An object property name can be any valid JavaScript string, or anything that can be converted to a string, including the empty string. However, any property name that is not a valid JavaScript identifier, for example, a property name that has a space or a hyphen, or that starts with a number, can only be accessed using the square bracket notation. This notation is also very useful when property names are to be dynamically determined, when the property name is not determined until runtime. Examples are as follows. You can also access properties by using a string value that is stored in a variable. You can use the bracket notation with for ... and to iterate over all the enumerable properties of an object. To illustrate how this works, the following function displays the properties of the object when you pass the object and the object's name as arguments to the function. So, the function call showProps myCar, would return the following. JavaScript has a number of predefined objects. In addition, you can create your own objects. You can create an object using an object initializer. Alternatively, you can first create a constructor function and then instantiate an object using that function and the new operator. In addition to creating objects using a constructor function, you can create objects using an object initializer. Using object initializers is sometimes referred to as creating objects with literal notation. Object initializer is consistent with the terminology used by C++. Using a constructor function alternatively, you can create an object with these two steps. 1. Define the object type by writing a constructor function. There is a strong convention, with good reason, to use a capital initial letter. 2. Create an instance of the object with new. To define an object type, create a function for the object type that specifies its name, properties, and methods. For example, suppose you want to create an object type for cars. You want this type of object to be called car, and you want it to have properties for make, model, and year. To do this, you would write the following function.